All right, so the way the book does this, I think, is backwards, and so that's why we did other bases first, just because I think it's hard to understand base 60 and modified base 20 if you have no idea what base 5 is. So we kind of got all the hard stuff out of the way, and so now we're just going to do a few of the things we haven't talked about to just clean up. So Egyptian is 1, so if you have your little pink sheet, your handout, you might want to look at that to look at Egyptian symbols. And these guys for like 1 and let's see, 2 and 3, those are probably sticks or something like that. When you get to 10, it's actually a heel bone. So again, they use things they're familiar with. This guy would be a coiled snake. This thing that kind of looks like Pac-Man on a stick is a lotus flower. That's worth 1,000. Then they have kind of a pointy finger, like someone's pointing a finger at somebody. And so that was, what, 10,000. And then they have the frog, which I can't draw frogs, but we will try. That's a lovely frog. Anyway, you get the idea. 100,000. And then we have kind of our worshiping man. And he is worth actually 1 million. So again, they did have kind of a base 10 system, as you can kind of see. You know, you have 1s and 10s, 100s, and so forth. But it's not a place value system. So in a sense, it's just drawing pictures. So if you want the number 2,342, you literally just draw a picture. And the order you draw, there is no place. It doesn't matter. The shapes have value, that's true, but where you draw them. So I would draw, what, 2 lotus flowers. And then I could have, what, 300s would be, what, 3 snakes. So if I wanted to, I could just draw those 3 snakes down here. They wouldn't have to be in any order. 40 would be, what, 4 heel bones. So again, as long as I have them, I'm good. And then 2 sticks. And so if you would look this, it's kind of an additive system. So you'd have to add these all up. So you'd be like, okay, 2 of those, 2,000, and then 3, and then 42. So if they wrote it out of order, it still wouldn't matter, because if you had the hundreds first, and then maybe the heel bones next, and maybe these guys, and then the lotus flowers, it's not positional. So I'd still know that these are worth 2,000. I'd still know that these are each my hundreds, and so forth. So I could still get the right answer, even if someone drew it out of order. So it is not a place value system. So you should be able to convert, which basically just means draw the picture. There's no math to do to convert. It's literally, you see the numbers, you draw pictures that represent it. And then same thing is the other way around, you know, so if I give you, maybe like a worshiping man here, and then maybe I give you, let's see, a frog, which, you know, who knows, that's a bad frog, but pretend it's a frog. And then maybe I give you some of these guys, some heel bones, and then maybe some of those. All right. So then you have to look, and you're like, okay, if you're an anthropologist or archaeologist, you're like, okay, so this is 1 million. So I'm going to make the slots to help me out here. Frogs are 100,000, and I have 1 of them. So I have 1,000,100,000. So those guys are gone. And then I have, what, 60. So that goes there, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm missing the pointy finger. I don't have any lotus flowers. And what else? Snakes. Don't have any of those. So then I know this number is what they, you know, if this was on some wall in some cave or inside some pyramid or something, I would know what it's worth. So that's one of those. All right. So let's talk about Roman. All right. So Roman numerals, a little more advanced in this. They used to not have the V's and all those things. So again, you're going to want to look at your chart. It used to just be I and then X and then C and M. So again, they go by powers of 10. But then their numbers got really, really long. So like if they wanted 9, they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. and then their numbers just got really long. So that's when they kind of added some rules. And so the rules are that you can only have 3 of the same thing in a row. Now, that doesn't mean you can't have 4 of the same symbol and separate it a little bit. But at one time, you can only have 4 in a row. So say you want, like, I don't know, 9 now. All right. So this is the rule. If it's after, so say you have this and you put it after, then you add. So this will be 10 plus 1. This is going to be 11. So just remember, after and add, they both start with A's. They go together. So contrary, or on the opposite side of things, if it's in front, that means you subtract. So this would be 9. So instead of writing all this, they would have said, okay, I'm going to have my 10 subtract. That was a lot shorter because their numbers got really, 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 really long. All right. The other thing to remember is that you have to build these numbers by each individual place value. So, meaning you can't say, oh, I think I'll subtract 1 from 2,000. All right, that is totally illegal because in Roman numerals, you can only jump 1 place value to subtract. So, for example, if you have, here's I and then V, X, L, C, D, and M. Okay, M is 1,000 and C is 100. So it would be legal to jump 1 place value. So that means the 500's included. So you can use any of these to like subtract or do whatever, but you can't jump from 1,000 down to 1. Okay. So then again, like this is 10, and again, the 50 was added later, but this is 1 place value when you go from 100 to 10. So again, these numbers you can use to add and subtract. But again, you can't use 100 and subtract a 1 to get a 99. Totally illegal. And then same thing down here is that 10 to 1 is 1 place value. So these guys you could add and subtract, and that would be legal. But again, you couldn't take a 50 and subtract a 1 because that's too big of a jump. All right. So this is the deal. So if we're going to write this in Roman numerals, first of all, you're going to actually write it out by place value, because you actually have to build each number. So like I was saying earlier, you can't just subtract and say, oh, that's good. No, you have to build 1,000, build 900, build 90, and build 9. So 1,000. So if you look at your chart, again, it's on your pink sheet, but I wrote it over here. M, I have 1 of them, so I do M. And that's totally legal. I could have 3 of them. I could have 3,000, M, M, M. And we'll do that in a little bit. All right, 900. All right, so I have to get 900. Okay, the problem is I can't go C, 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 C 9 times because the rule is you can only use 3 of them in a row. All right, so I maybe have like 3 C's and then later have another C with, say, subtraction or something, but otherwise I only get 3. So I have to kind of figure out this. So if I try 500, that would be 500 plus 100, 100, 100, 100. Again, I'm using 4 C's. Totally illegal. So that means I have to use 1,000, which is M, and I have to subtract from it. So after you add, so in front you subtract, so I'm going to put my C. So this would be 1,000 and then minus 100 is that. All right, so now we have to build the 90. All right, so 90. All right, so again, I can't do X, 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 X 9 times. Only 3 in a row is all you're limited to. I can't do 50 plus 10, 10, 10, 10 because that's 4 of them. I only get 3 in a row. So I have to use my C, which again is 100. And I want to subtract 10. So again, after you add, so I'm going to put it in front. All right, and lastly, 9, same issue. So I'm going to use my X, which is a 10, and I'm going to put it in front and subtract. So notice that if this was that would be my number here. There could be different cases where maybe I would have like, do you see how I already have 2 C's in here and 2 X's? There might be a situation where you maybe have 3 X's, but then later another X. That's legal as long as you only have 3 in a row. That's the biggie. All right, let's look at maybe another example. And again, there was a video not by me that I posted too, so you can watch that as well. All right, so say I want you to convert 3, right. Let's make that last one a 4, just to practice again. Okay, so is everyone okay? if I want to build this, I would need 3,000 plus 400 plus 84. All right, so 3,000, I need 3 m's, so that's good. All right, 400. I cannot do 4 100s, but I could do a 500, and I want to go subtracting, so I'm going to put the C in front. All right, so this is really 500 minus 100 is what I built. Okay, 80. 80 is kind of a weird number. 80, I could do 50 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10. And notice that's 3 10s, totally legal. So 50 is what? Where's my 50? L. And then I could do X, 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 and that would be okay. But the other option, let's see, was CD my 400? Yeah. So my other option is to do 100 minus 10, and that would work as well. So I could do subtract 10, and again, my 100 is C. All right, and then I need my 4. Can't do 4 in a row. If I do after, I'd add. So again, I want to subtract, so I would put it in front. So again, there's an example where there's 2 answers. If I give you a number, so say I give you M, C, M, X, CVI. All right, so in this case, once I know my place values, it kind of helps to actually mark them out. So this is 1,000. So as soon as I see that 1,000, I'm going to like do this so I kind of know what's happening here. The CM, okay, that's another 1,000. So, and this is in front, so I know I'm subtracting it. So what is C? C is 100. So if it's after I add, it's in front, so I'm subtracting. So that would be 900. So there's my 9. So then I kind of look at this stuff. Sometimes getting the end is easier. So here's the end. It's a 5 with a 1 and it's after, so I add. So that's 6. So it's a 5 with a 1 after, so I add. So then I kind of know what's left here. So what's left? I have a C, which is 100. But there's a 10 in front of it. So if it's after, I'd add. In front, I subtract. So then that's going to be 90 as well. And so that's kind of how I go about trying to undo them, is figuring out how many digits it has and then kind of start at the beginning, maybe go to the end, try to get the middle, and make it all work out. All right.